everyone now makes the argument for Louis Zammit that he's a pace merchant and all he's got is speed. But where was this? Where were these arguments for when Habana was around?
You know what, right?
Right?
I just sorry. That just shows like you don't understand the type of player Habana was. Because Louis Zammit is good from 5-10 meters out, but Brian Habana could score from anywhere. Brian Habana had better footwork. Brian Habana had probably more of an offensive kicking ability. He was better defensively. This man won a World Player of the Year award, if I'm not mistaken, and he was a clinical finisher. Just to put him and Louis Rees Zammit in the same sentence, mate,
All
what
right,
are you even still doing on this
you're
podcast?
you're getting confused. You think I'm saying that Louis Sammet's on the same level of achieving what Habana has? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying they're the same type of player, but but for some reason people say that Louis Sammet is all he's got is speed, and they don't say the same for Habana. Because
Why don't we
realistically,
compare? Why don't we compare Nadolo and John Olomu then?
No, do you know what I do want to bring? Johnny May is a very similar player to Louis Zammit. And like Kieran said, Johnny May thinks he's better than Chris Ashton. A lot of us have said that before, and Johnny May's been one of England's best wingers. So I don't know why, just because Louis Zammit's Welsh, and I feel like he does get a lot of hate, unnecessary hate. And
I'm not being funny. Like he's doing what he's doing now is very similar to what a young Habana was doing. It
Are
is.
you being serious,
Like,
bro? That isn't.
Taddy, I wanna pick up on something you said. You said that Louis Sammet is only good from 5-10 meters out. He's
Yeah.
scored a lot of tries from inside his own half. He's
In
scored a
the
lot.
Prem, he scored a
And
lot
no,
of tries
and
in
for
the
Prem.
Prem.
and for Wales.
Right, name me a try. Can you give me a try that he
Okay.
scored
All
from
right.
at least
So
inside his own half?
against Scotland, he got the ball in his own half. He burns with a winger, chips it over Hogg, beats Hogg to the try line, and then obviously intercept against England. That's an intercept against Fiji. Again, from inside his own half, gasses his winger, chips it over the fullback, and then gathers it literally just in time. He scored a lot of tries.
Could he do that? Could he do that against the Springboks, or could he do that against New
No,
Zealand?
no.
Kieran,
No, he
how
wouldn't.
is it? Wait, Kieran,
He's
how is
scored.
supposed
He burnt Am and scored. He scored 2 tries in the
He
first
burnt a
half.
center. Oh my, Brian
But
Habana.
It was from inside his own half. This
Jack,
whole
please
thing you're
don't tell me
saying.
you're on the same wave.
No, I'm
Alright,
not
yeah,
being
yeah,
wavelength.
stop,
But
stop shouting.
all I'm saying is, Louis Zammit plays for a Welsh team that is diabolical. Like what he can do this against teams that like South Africa, New Zealand, but the fact that he has done it in Prem games and he has proved he can do it international, you put him in a competent international side and he will produce.
But
Yeah.
Taddy, what you're also forgetting is that he did it against the Springboks in the first test. He scored a try from inside his own half, and
because
then
of an
he finished
overlap. It wasn't from
he-
inside of his own half. Yet what? The center did all the work, and all he had to do was burn a center who he's meant to burn as a winger.
Habana was the same player. Habana couldn't create by himself. He had the speed to finish off opportunities, and he was a very good player for what he was. And Louis Rees Zammit is very, very similar in that respect. I'm not saying that Zammit is better. I'm saying that Zammit is very similar to what young Habana was doing.
That's absolutely ludicrous. Young Habana was winning World Cups.
But Taddy,
young Louis Zammit is winning.
That is irrelevant. You can't keep bringing.
Yeah,
It is,
Taddy,
it is
Taddy,
relevant because he was an integral
listen.
part of the team. How is it relevant?
Young Habana had the best team in the world when he came into it.
No.
Young Rees Zammit as a Wales team that's not even a top 5 team in. They're probably the worst team in the UK, Taddy.
Can I ask you a question? Are you basically saying that Louis Rees Zammit is a world-class player with world-class potential, but and if you put him on a world-class team, he would look world-class and one of the best wingers in the world? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying as a young player, what I'm saying, sorry, Jack, he has world-class potential, and if he was in a better team, then he probably could already be world-class.
That is absolutely outrageous. It's Kieran, can you say something about these guys trying to
Wait,
put Brian
Taddy,
Habana?
I'm not saying anything in this tape because I don't want my credibility to go down.
If Louis Zammit played for France, he'd be a top 5 winger in the world.
No, he wouldn't.
Yes, he would.
Jordan, Colby, Mapimpi, Darcy Graham, Josh Van der Fleer, James Lowe.
Josh Van der Fleer is not a winger.
Van der Fleer, James Lowe, Mac Hansen. Who else? There's just numerous wingers.
I'm not. Listen. He's a different type of winger to everyone that you've just named. He's there for his out and out pace, but what people also don't recognize is that he is a clever winger as well. he will pop up in the right areas and get his hands on the ball in space and score lots of tries.
Rohan, I used to genuinely respect your rugby like takes, but this take now I just can't respect because the premise you're going off is because players are similar, right? We should give those players the same amount of respect or some level of respect. As I said, Nadolo.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm
Okay,
saying.
what are you saying then? Because that's what it sounds like you're saying.
What I'm saying is no one called Habana a pace merchant.
Why?
But realistically,
Why? Why? Because he could do more. He could do
no,
more.
but here's what you don't understand. His footwork, he wasn't known for very good footwork. His kicking game was pretty appalling.
Sorry, what?
He was good under the high ball towards the end of his career.
Did you say Habana wasn't known for his footwork? Did you actually just say Habana?
Are you insane?
I didn't. I said his footwork is not exceptional. He's there for his pace.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
You're insane.
That is so stupid.
That's really not that ridiculous to say. That's really not that
Brian
ridiculous.
Habana, one of the quickest people to ever play the game. One of the most
Yeah.
elusive winners.
Taddy, there's the problem.
Exactly, Taddy. You talk about his team, but then
Yes.
Wait, the first thing you said about Habana, nothing
Yeah.
to do with footwork, nothing to do with
Yeah.
IQ. He's one of the quickest players to play the game.
Okay.
What is Louis Zammit, Taddy? One of the quickest wingers in the world.
Jack, and what's the first thing you say when you think about John Olomu? His strength, one of the strongest people to play the game, one of the most dominant people to play the game. But that's not me solely saying that's his whole game. Brian Habana, Rohan, you said, why don't people talk about the fact that Brian Habana was just quick? Because he was more than his pace. Louis Zammit should be an Olympic sprinter. He's quick. He's a quick player. And that's all I can give to him. He has no kicking ability, no high ball ability, no defensive ability.
No. To say Louis Zammit has no kicking ability is pretty appalling, considering that a lot of his tries have come from his own kicks.
Okay,
and not to mention, he's got like a 70-meter distance kick on him, so he has a kicking game. His high ball, although it can improve, has already improved significantly. He's still very young. And he has maybe in a year, 2 years time, he will be world class.
Can I ask you a question, Rohan? Can I ask you a question? Let's go. I'll go over a few attributes with you. Who's a better finisher, Louis Zammit or Brian Habana?
I'm not here to discuss who's better. Everyone knows Habana's had a better.
Answer the point. Answer the point.
Yeah,
that's just Taddy. That's what. No. Let me speak.
Are you two that thick? Are you actually that thick?
But what he's saying is, Louis Zammit gets slandered for what Habana did well. That's what.
No, he doesn't, because they didn't do the same things well. They didn't do the same things well.
Okay, look. Okay, I've searched up.
But you're failing to understand. I don't think you guys know rugby because you don't know what Brian Habana was good at. If you think Brian Habana was solely just renowned for his pace, then you need to watch that game.
But that literally, I search up Habana. Here's what comes up.
What?
5 minutes of Brian Habana being the fastest rugby player in the world. Brian Habana, fastest player in the world. Habana interception tries. Fastest man in rugby. Brian Habana versus the fast landman.
That's not all what he has, though. That's not his only.
But that's not all what Louis Zammit has.
It is Rohan.
It is Rohan. Start waking up.
He's got an 80-meter kicking game. He's clever. He pops up in the right area.
Kieran, I genuinely can't do this anymore.
Just end the tape, Paddy. Just end the tape.
I can't do this anymore. It's hurting my head that the fact that Brian Habana is being sunk down to this level. A World Cup winning winner.
I'm not saying
player of the year winner.
Nobody's sinking him down. Nobody. Rohan's just saying that Habana got praised heavily for something that Louis Zammit does, and he gets put down because he's a pace merchant. Brian Habana in this current Welsh team, and he is nowhere near the player he was. Who was the only person to put Brian Habana in the top 10 players of all time? Me. I was the only one that did. So I'm not slandering. I'm just saying that this team's so bad that not even Habana can prove to be one of the best wingers in the world, innit?
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Rio Dyer, right? He was terrible, right? But he had some opportunities, like the bigger pass and other moments in the game. He caused a lot of problems for himself. You think Brian Habana is going to make those same mistakes?
What do you mean?
No, he's not going to make those same mistakes. The fact that you would even try to think that Brian Habana would sink to the level of Brian Habana would make Wales a better team. He honestly would make Wales.
Yeah, he would, but he wouldn't make them any sort of competitor for the Six Nations. He wouldn't make them a World Cup threat. He wouldn't make them a top 8 team in the world because he wouldn't.
It's a stupid take though, because what do you want? Okay, When you look at Wales, what do you think the problem with Wales is? Do you think that? Do you
Every
think
single player on the pitch is the problem with Wales.
every single
They have
for me,
no
the primary
direction.
problem,
They have no
the primary,
sense of gameplay. They have no culture. They have nothing.
the forward pack and the 10 are the biggest pressing issues in Wales, right? They're the biggest pressing issues, and I'm not trying to deny the fact that Louis Zammit maybe hasn't been put in the best of situations, right? But even when Wales was firing and Wales were playing well last summer against South Africa, I was not impressed by him. Louis Zammit wouldn't even be a South African national player for Wales back in those times. He wouldn't be. He wouldn't be.
There's unnecessary hate to a player
I
that's
just-
proved to be
all
one
I'm
of the best.
saying-
You want
About-
unnecessary agenda for South
Paddy,
Africa
Paddy.
just continuing.
Paddy,
I'm the
Paddy,
only one that doesn't have an agenda against South Africa on
Paddy.
this podcast.
I'm a South African.
Paddy,
Yeah,
let me say something. Let me say something. Habana was there for his speed. Louis Zammit is there for his speed. That is the comparison I'm making. The only difference is Habana is known as one of the best players of all time, and Louis Zammit is constantly slandered. And we're forgetting that Louis Zammit is so much younger, and he's doing things that are very similar to what a young Habana
Rohan,
was.
it's crazy. It's crazy. The comparison for me is actually ridiculous. And you can't. How are you going to compare scoring tries in a Gallagher Premiership, right? Scoring tries in the Gallagher Premiership to scoring tries in the World Cup, and you're going to.
He's one of the best try scorers for Wales. His try per game
For
ratio.
Wales, you contradict yourself so much. You said Wales were terrible, and now you're praising him for being one of their best try scorers. Jack, make it make sense.
Taddy, if he's one of the best try scorers in an absolute terrible team, does that not get to show you about how good at try scoring they are?
No. No.
What? Right.
No.